What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? How you? How you? Oh boy, we got a show today. We got a show today. We got a show today. A lot of feelings is gonna get hurt today. Sorry, shouldn't have been in the comments because a lot of feelings is gonna get hurt today. That's guaranteed. Right? So I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Okay. A lot of comments came. Oh, and thank you for all your donations that I got yesterday. We're definitely so grateful to be able to help the community, the Soundview community, and so the donations are coming steadily, and I really really appreciate that. Some people that will have I guess how you call a certain amount of donations will be invited to the VIP. Now, the VIP is a space that is taken off on the side of the stage, and that's where all the celebrities and everybody will be. You'll have some drinks over there, and you'll have your little place to mingle and stuff. So those are the VIP donators. Everybody else, like I said, is thank you so much for your donations. I will always have the Cash App donation banner on the bottom scrolling through. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight into it. Who contribute to the creation of hip hop? Who? Okay, so we've been going through a lot of things this way, and one of the comments was, what about 50-50? And so, what I can say about 50-50 is that people were there, other than the people that were creating it. People were there, but what were they doing there? So, just like we always said, if you behind the rope, then you're participating in the actual function. If you're behind the rope, if you're in front of the rope, then that means you're watching the function that's happening. You're watching. You're a fan. You're observing what's happening. And so, in the case of the creation of hip hop, that's exactly what's happening. Puerto Ricans and other peoples, Jamaicans and other nationalities, were observing what the creation was doing, what we were doing to actually make hip hop and create hip hop. A lot of times people ask me, they say, well, were they there? Were Puerto Ricans there? Were Jamaicans there? And to be honest, when I looked out over the ropes, I didn't see much of them. I really didn't. I didn't see much of them. And if I did, see them and overlook them, what it was to me was that they were basically blending in. So in other words, I would have seen if there was a really prominent fixture of a Puerto Rican. I would have known that. I would have seen that. So in the creation of it, I didn't see any at all. And then, like I said, in '71, there a lot of the Puerto Ricans had, and the girl told me how they did it. I used to think that they just had to blow out the hair, but the young lady told me that they had to braid their hair first and then blow it out, and that's how they would get the afros. So if they were out in the audience, that's what they probably did. They had their hair blown out, so I wouldn't have known them as Puerto Rican. But nevertheless, the creation part of it was, so the style in which we DJ'd, the style in which we talked onto the mic, and the style in which we danced, and the style in which we dressed, and what we were actually saying on the microphone, and the records that we were selecting, and those things. Now, I had a conversation with one of my brothers. Hold on, I was supposed to be doing something. I was supposed to be adding, uh, um, but it doesn't show me how to do that. It doesn't show me how to do the moderator. So if anybody knows how to put that the moderator on, just please show me how to do that. I guess put it in the comments or whatever. But anyway, so what I'm saying to you is that these people that were standing out in the crowd, if they were there, what they were doing was dancing or listening or just watching. In the early part of hip hop, in the early creation of hip hop, they were not dancing. Nobody else was dancing other than us. Okay, nobody else was dancing, and especially when the get down part came, when the burning part came, because when the burning part came, we would usually get into a circle. They would get into the circle. I was DJing, so, and I would sometimes when somebody else is DJing, I would get into the circle as well. But we would get into the circle, and then everybody would be looking at the persons or the two persons that were actually dancing. So I had a conversation today with one of my brothers and my sister, and we were talking about how the breakdancing formed, what it was, how it formed. And it actually formed by what we were playing. So in other words, if we were playing just a regular record that did not have a break, we considered that burning, because we're dancing around and going to each person and seeing if they were, ready to do this dance battle or whatever. And we were basically waiting for this break part of the record. So now for the records that had a break, by the time that came on, the beginning part of the record, we were actually searching for the victim that we were going to stop and say, like, okay, you ready to get down and burn them and break on them and everything. So in 1971 and 72, Puerto Ricans weren't doing that. Puerto Ricans were not coming around us when we were doing it and doing that. They just weren't doing that. It's something that they were not doing. So what happens is, on a situation like that, what happens is they might have been a part of the circle that watched what we were doing. They might have been a part of the circle that watched and saw what we were doing where we were inside of that circle. Okay, so they, like I said, at that time, we weren't thinking about the people that was watching. We were thinking about what we were doing and who we were battling against. Okay, so that's one thing about breakdancing that they could not have created. Anybody else other than us could have created. Now, also. A lot of times people ask me this. They say, "Well, if the Puerto Ricans," and I'm not just putting out the Puerto Ricans, when the Puerto Ricans say that they created the spin on the records, or I mean the spin on the floor or whatever, what is that? What are they really trying to say that they created? Okay, so if you look at older films from the 30s, 40s, 50s, you will see the actual spinning on their back. You will see the actual helicopter. You will see the actual backflip, the backstroke or whatever. But when you watch those earlier things, whatever music that they were dancing to, it went along with what they were doing. So if the spin had a constant beat that was going like this, they would spin around to that beat. If they were actually going back and coming up and come back and coming up, they were back and coming up on that beat. And so that's a big, big part of what hip hop is. Hip hop is the feeling of that actual beat. So if you don't have that beat inside you, if you don't have that rhythm that's inside of you, then you just cannot catch that beat. You can't do it. It's impossible. And so that's one of the things, one of the terms in which why breakdancing came. So where does breakdancing come from? It comes from having a record that either in the beginning or in the middle has a breakdown of just one or two instruments. Those one or two instruments are the drums and maybe a bass, or the drums and a lead guitar, or the drums and a piano, or the drums and a horn. Okay, that's the break part of the record. So now that gives a chance to the dancer to highlight his moves. That's what it does. It highlights the moves that they are doing in their dance. And so people ask me, they say, well, were there other moves when this happened? Were people doing other moves while these things were happening? Sure. Were they doing other dances? Sure. They could combine breakdancing, jump back up, grab a girl, and dance with the girl. You see what I'm saying? And so, even before the hustle came out, we were doing that. We would grab, going down, coming back up, grab the girl's hand, spin her around, come back or whatever. And that was a part of it. So there were several dances that we incorporated into this break dance. So back to the contribution of creating that. So it would take a person that had Maurice, yes, you said soul. Yes, we have that soul. Peace to you. And so it would take somebody to have these dances, these funk dances, these soul dances in them to able to create breakdancing. And that's just simple. You can't just say, okay, you're doing it. Okay, so now going back to the Puerto Rican part of breakdancing. Okay, so we already established what the actual breakdance is. So this is in 71, right, when actually we were doing this. So in 71, remember, we had things, this is when funk was at its best. We had James Brown, Rufus Thomas, Isaac Hayes, Otis Redding. We had all of these funk things and soul things that our parents listened to. Our parents listened to these soul funk records. So in order to have that inside of you, you should be able to go to your parents' house, pick out these records, pick out the records that have these breaks, come back, put them on, and do your dance, because you've been dancing in the house like that as long as you can remember. So I challenge any Puerto Rican to tell me from 1971 what those records were that they were actually dancing to. When I brought up Picnic Markham, that's because as soon as Picnic Markham came out, we wanted that record. We wanted it. Your parents wanted it. You wanted it. If you were a kid, you wanted it, because here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Everybody knows that. Here comes the judge. And boom, boom, tap it. And so we wanted, that was funky to us. And then he was getting on the microphone, and he wasn't singing. He was basically just talking to the rhythm. We wanted that. So I challenge any Puerto Rican or Jamaican to say that, okay, They had that in their, they grew up with that. They grew up with that. Otis Redding, tramp. What you call me? Tramp. You don't wear no continental clothes and a fancy hat. All right. Those things were in our things, our collection, our parents' collection. So we had that. Those are something we grew up to. Everybody knows that when you have a party and they tell the kids to go to the bed, they would have the comedy records, Mars Mabley, and all of those records, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Wild Man Steve. They would have all of those records, and they would be listening to those records while we're supposed to be asleep. What's the first thing every kid did when their parents leave? Grab that record, put on the record, and hear what they were doing, what they were talking about. Listen to the cursing, listen to them talk about the bodily parts and stuff like that. So those records were inside our parents' collection. So I challenge any Puerto Rican or Jamaican to say that they went in their parents' collection at that time in 1971, 72, 73, and say that they could pick out those records and put them on the record player. And that's another thing, back in those days, people always talk about how the sound systems were and all of this. We had record players. They were record players. They were not turntables. Radio stations had turntables, and at that time it was just for a single use record. So if if you're at a party and you have your bunch of 45s that you put on your spindle that plays automatically after one record, then you would have a record player. You wouldn't have a single record. So as soon as the record go off, you got to get up, whatever you're doing or whatever, and put on the record. No, that's just not how it was. It's just not how it was. And so when people say in the comments that, oh, everybody did that, everybody did not do that. Everybody did not do that. We did that. Our families did that. All our families had an uncle or aunt to get drunk and start cursing and arguing and saying this and saying that. We all had that, okay? And we all had to go into our rooms when they were in there drinking and cursing and talking about each other and arguing. We all had to go in our rooms. So if those are not your backgrounds and those are not what you were doing, then you cannot say that you were a part of the creation, because the creation was just that. We took what we saw, we took what we were doing, we took that funk that we had and we brought it to us. We brought it to a kid. We brought as kids, and we did that. Okay, so now Mr. Ali Bey called me earlier today. And he asked me, he said that someone asked him, why is graffiti an element? And I explained to him something that you're going to hear a lot now after I explain it. Okay, after I explain this, you're going to hear this a lot of why it's actually added as an element. All right. Okay, so the number one thing that when flyers did come out, they were either on index cards, notebook paper, or anything, but they were written out. Okay, so then graffiti writers were added to make flyers. Okay, so they were making the flyers in graffiti. Okay, so all the earlier flyers, from I want to say 75, 76, 77, okay, those flyers were written in graffiti. They were written in graffiti, right? I know Phase 2, I know Buddy Esquire. They had jobs downtown in Manhattan and they would actually uh, be in charge of the mail room or something like that. And so they could put an order in, they could, write something or whatever, and then put an order in and send it to the stationery to get it made, get it professional made with the stencils and all of that. So that's how that professional look came into the things when they were no longer just writing out with pen and paper, writing out the flyers. They weren't doing that no more. Now, after that started happening, and later on, like 80, 81, 82, 83, what happened was these same graffiti artists started putting it on clothes and jackets, and everybody that's here that knows with us, know how we are, knows exactly what I'm talking about. You would see somebody's name and a face or everything on a dungaree light colored jacket, and you would see the different colors and stuff on those jackets, on those pants. They were even putting them on sneakers, anything that they could put it on. And so that became hip hop fashion. Okay, remember we was talking about how the fashion was one of the things that was supposed to be added that hasn't been added. That's what was added. The added of the fashion clothes. You would see it on your hat. You see how my hat has graffiti on it. Okay, that's what we were doing. We were putting graffiti on the hat. So I never forget my jacket, the first jacket that I had done, and I had the top and bottom, and it said DJ Phase on there. Oh man, you were when you had one of those jackets, and the girls when they had those jackets and the big door knocker earrings, they were fly girls. They were fly girls, and so that's what made it hip hop fashion. So graffiti was then incorporated to hip hop. See, this is one thing that I know for a fact, and I've said this on several different videos. Okay, the one thing that I know for a fact is this: if Puerto Ricans or Jamaicans or any other nationality brought their culture from there to here, then they should have pictures of when they were in Puerto Rico, when they were in Jamaica. And I challenge anyone to bring one picture, just one picture from 1971 that shows that they were dressing and they had the fashion like we had in 1971, 1972, 1973, 1974, and so on. So if those people could say, okay, I got a picture that shows that I had on whatever we were rocking in 1971, then I'll shut up. I won't say another word about it. But I don't got to worry about that. So you can hear me talking for all now until I don't care how long, because there's none of that's going to be produced. No picture's going to be produced because we already know what you was wearing. We already know how y'all was dressing in 1971. Okay, so before I go to the next part, let me. I'm getting issued to answer some of these texts. JG Phase be going in. Peace. Okay. Blessy, the child of light. Peace, sis. BTP, Riri Brown. Yay, talk about my girl, Riri. Okay. DE. Cologne deflected and ran away until Dwayne got fed up. and shut them off. Okay, deflected. Okay, so these, you know, I can't read all of the things that happen, and so wait a minute. The predictor said you need a Polaroid camera back then, DJ Face. Yes, well, actually, I had a camera. I did have a camera, but you know, like I said, we were young, and so I could only take the camera when I you know went on vacation or something. And I'm gonna tell you what camera I had, and so y'all can laugh all y'all want, but I had a Mickey Mouse face camera, and when you want to take the picture, you pull the ear down, click click, you pull the ear down, and it had a little flash, the cube flash on the top. So when you pull the ear down, the flash will turn like that, and it'll just flash out like that. So I had that, and honestly, I didn't really want my friends to know that that's what I had, the Mickey Mouse camera. So I didn't. Now my parents had cameras. Yeah, they did have camera, but the you know it was straight up. Listen, if you take your parents' stuff outside, especially if you break it or lose it or something, that's your ass. Just point blank period. So we wouldn't chance it. We would not chance it because we know at a young age we running, jumping over things, running from people, throwing balloons off the water balloons off the roof, and getting chased, and don't know when you're gonna have to fight or whatever. You know, getting chased by these. So you weren't gonna chance having something like a camera to hold on to be taking pictures. Just wasn't heard of it. You know, wasn't heard of. You know, we didn't have cell phones that you could pick up and take a picture of it. We have cell phones. You know what our cell phone was? Somebody would take a cup, put some string in it. Somebody be on the other side, put a cup, put the string in it, and that was our cell phones. Okay, that's the only phone that we could take out of the house. Okay, all our there's no curly cord or no string, and no cord that's that long that come out of your window and go downstairs and be on your phone. Okay, so we didn't have no cell phones with cameras. You know, a lot of the younger generation, they don't understand, and that's why they say, well, why there's no pictures of this, or why there's no pictures or things for that. The reason why is because technology grew. All right, we didn't have no cell phones, we didn't have no cameras that we could just go ahead and do. You know, in 71, most of us had a black and white TV with the antenna that you pull up, or you had the rabbit ears antenna. And when the reception was going, because I think we had like 9 channels or 10 channels, and when the reception was going out, what we would do was go get some aluminum foil and put it on the top of the antenna and call it a night. And then, if your father was and your mom's was watching the show, you was that antenna. You had to move the antenna and go. And so younger people don't understand the struggles. We as kids were our parents' remote control. Turn that channel. Turn that channel for me. Turn that channel. Okay, and everything. Oh no, wait. Yeah, turn it back. No. And we were the remote control. Kids don't know about that. This generation, they don't know nothing about that. Okay, Kind Heart, who was the first hip hop DJ that I know of? Mario. Later on, he became Disco King Mario. He was way before Herc. He was before everybody as far as hip hop. Now, he wasn't the first DJ. No, he was not the first DJ, but he was the first hip hop DJ in 1971. Okay, Stephen Dunlap. Don't forget, we did have walkie-talkies. Yes, we did have the walkie-talkies with the antenna, but they were nothing like the walkie-talkies that we had now. The walkie-talkies that we have now, the 2 ways, go for miles, 10 miles and stuff like that. Ours, if you barely could get up the block before your transmission came out. Okay, Conrad, who was the first hip hop DJ? Okay, Sweet Pea Divine Alkine. Salute, love you, brother. Keep spitting that all the way real. They're gonna realize how much heaven you giving them. Right, right. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Okay, who was the first tether MC? Well, I won't do that. A King, Vice Script channel changer. Right. Okay. See, they don't know nothing about a Vice Script channel changer. So now the Vice Script channel changer was something where we locked it on the channel, right? Because the knob was gone, and we turned it like that. We turned it. Now, back in 71, I think there was channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, channel 9. No, channel 4. Wait. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. And that was it. Those were the channels that we had. Okay. And they all went off, I think, at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock in the morning, or you'll hear the broadcast service has now discontinued, and please stand by for the. And then you'll hear snow, and it'll go beep, and that's it. Okay, so the younger generations, the ones that are saying that, oh, why you didn't have this or why that, this, because they don't know. And then that's one of the things that they're saying now, is that the stuff that we had, if we had it at that time, other countries and other places like Puerto Rico and Jamaica, they didn't have it. So they would share one TV in the whole village. They would share a TV in 1971. You can ask them. They would share in Puerto Rico and in Jamaica. They would share one black and white TV for the whole village. So they would know what time the program was going to come on, and they had a lot of radios. It was usually radio. So they didn't even really have TVs. They had radios. Okay. Okay, let me see. They played that natural anthem before the right channel. Right. I forgot about that. All right, TV was sitting on the big TV on the floor. Right. Now, you know what? When you say that, our TVs didn't get stolen back then. We did not get us stolen because it took at least 6 people to lift that big Zenith TV. The TV had a record player in it, had a radio tuner in it, and all the records, all your dad's records in there. And that picture tube was heavy, and that wood was heavy. So nobody was just going to jump in your window and take that out. Wasn't happening. Okay, we should have went back to that. Okay, the predicate. DJ Faze, you spoke about the test plug. Don't you think street lamping, aka the art of jacking electricity, should be the first element of hip hop? Okay. No. Because other than that, we didn't have to always use the plug in the light bulb. We would just get a long extension cord and come out of people's houses. So we did that a lot as well. We would take especially in our project, anybody saw on the first floor, we tell them we want to bring the equipment out, boom, and we do it. Or we even get it from the carriage room. We'll just run the cord out of the carriage room. Back then, what we would do to make it longer, we would go especially the Corvettes. Corvettes had like a aid store, which was it was like a Strauss store, and they would have these long cables with the light on it, and those would be usually used for mechanic shops and stuff like that. So we would get those and the longer extension cords and put them together and run it out of somebody's house. So yes, that's what we did. Okay, Kind Heart, did big speakers come from Brooklyn? Definitely not. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you mostly why. Brooklyn did have stuff. Yes, they did have their sound systems and stuff, but The thing about why they were mostly in the Bronx and Manhattan was we had so many music shops in the Bronx and Manhattan that service stuff. So you could bring your broken speaker to a shop in Manhattan or in the Bronx, and they would recone it for you. So you could go, somebody would, they'd get their speaker reconed, and they wouldn't have the money to come and pick it up. So that store would then sell you whatever it costs to recone it. So that's why the Bronx had, we had massive sound systems. And this is in my book as well. So one thing that Mario did for us kids was, and I could say it now because they can't catch me now, it's too late. We used to go into the train, and in the back of the train, I don't even think they have them anymore, but we used to pull up the seat in the train, and we used to get the speaker in it. It was a PA horn. And we would take that back to Mario. He'd give us $2, $5, whatever for those horns. So he had a whole bunch of those, horns, because that's how we would get $2 or $3 if we needed it, or whatever. And so we did that. DJ Rhythm, peace, DJ Faze. I've been DJing since 81, 82, 57 years old now, and I'm in the most of my DJ career. I have never seen a all Puerto Rican crew that owned DJ a sound system. Even Charlie Chase was a crew, all right. Hey, is that my little brother, DJ Rhythm? I think that's my little brother. That might be. Okay, but if that's DJ Rhythm, peace, brother. Our event is on the 27th next week. Okay, so yes, definitely. Okay, Blast Seed, the child of life, said facts, Phase, facts. Okay, Ahmed Belton said Bronx had the fever. We had the fever, but see, that's even later on, and we're going to go on that, because what I decided to do is I'm going to take each element and we're going to break it down piece by piece. So I'm going to have a series of breaking down each element. Okay, so we're going to get that on the clubs and the spots to go to and DJ on another session. We're going to do that. Okay, King of Kings, who was the first to extend the breakbeat? Okay, once again, I have to say Mario, because what happened was, this is what happened, and okay, since we're doing the DJing part of it, I'm gonna to skip to the DJ part of it. Okay, so when you say extend the breaks, right? One thing that I'm going to tell you in the book, I'm not going to tell you now, is why we were doing it the way we were doing it. Okay. So when you say extend the breaks and everything, the reason, if anybody knows what the merry-go-round is and why Herc said he invented the merry-go-round, was that because it seemed like it was going on and on, but in reality, it wasn't. What Herc was doing was he would take a record like Apache, right? And if everybody knows how Apache goes, boom, that kadoom, that kaboom, boom, that kadoom, that kaboom, that boom, that right? Okay, so now, ding, dun, 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 da, da, dun, da, dun, dun, da, right? So dun, 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 da, 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 dun, da, 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 boom, boom, da. All right. So now when it does that, right, and it goes into that break, right? That break is long. That break is long. You could be dancing and doing all your stuff. It's long. So her could not cut. He could not break. He could not take a piece of that record and do it and spin back and do it. He could not do that. He could not. So he'll take that same record and just come in and let it play a little bit more. And then after that, after people got tired of that, then he'll throw in a long record like The Mexican or Shaft in Africa. Shaft in Africa was played the whole record. The Mexican, you would play the whole record. So, or a James Brown record that has the break. So in that middle of that long break, he'll throw the other part of the break because you can hear it and throw that other part in the thing. And that's the merry-go-round. Okay. So now we were doing it totally different, way before that with the breaks. Okay. I'll tell you that in my book, because I'm not going to give up those secrets, and I'm not going to tell you how it was done in that right now. But that's what happened. So we were extending Mario and we were doing the extending the breaks way before Herc. Way before Herc. And Herc till this day can't cut. He cannot cut. I started in 71 cutting and mixing and doing or whatever I was doing. And so now from 71 to now, I'm way much better or whatever. I'm more experienced or whatever. So I should be able to go on the turntables and do it now. Herc should be able to, since 71, 72, 73 or whatever he was doing it or whatever, he should be able to get on the turntables right now and cut and do it. He can't do that. Nobody has ever seen him do that. Nobody has ever seen Herc cut music. Now, and another thing, Jamaican, if you know anything about dance hall or you know anything about how the DJs do it, what they do is this. They be playing doom, doom, da doom, 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 and then somebody will say, selector, rewind, and they'll rewind it back to the beginning, take it back to the beginning and play that over again. All right, that was exactly what Herc was basically doing. Playing that record from that part to that, and that was the merry-go-round. So anybody that tries to challenge me on that, come with it. Come with it. Let me know. All right. Let DJ FaZe know, because that's what it was. Okay. Now, another thing about that is what we're talking about is the style of that, right? The style of that is, remember, we grew up on James Brown, Otis Redding, Rufus Thomas, right? And then later on, we had the Jackson 5, the Silvers and everything. And what happened? Same thing. Everybody knows what I'm going to say, all right? When we had the Silvers, what did the pink people do? They made the Osmonds because they saw how we were doing so well, and the Jackson 5 was so getting so much popularity. Here they go with the Donny Osmond and the Osmonds, okay? So that's a perfect example of how they take what we do and they love it so much that they try to copy it just like that. Okay, now you got to remember the Silvers with like Misdemeanor. Oh my God, we was jamming to that, right? And so now think about it. That's in our DNA. That's in our DNA. And so we were doing that. We were going to the records. Now, hey, I think that's rare. What I read, okay, DJ FaZe, do you recall a record store called Brad's? Of course, on White Plains Road, Record 10 on 219th, Gun Hill Road. Oh, that was the other one on 219th Street, but the original one was on White Plains Road. I was coming to Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn to buy my break beats and 13 years old. And yes. Okay, so now, when we started buying records and buying breaks, I was going to Harmony in Parkchester, Rivs, not Rivs, God, what was the name of that story? Racks on Westchester Avenue. We would go to Corvettes and get records. We would go to Alexander's and get records. We would go to Woolworth and get records. Okay, so we were just anything we knew about or whatever, we would go and get the records from there. And so we were collecting these records, and especially me, I'm collecting all the records that had a drum beat in it. Okay, because that's how I learned how to play drums. And people could challenge me till this day of playing the drums. I was known as the little drummer boy in Bronxdale. Everybody knew that when they go past my building and the windows are open and I'm in the back playing the drum, doom, doom, that, and then they go, oh, Booby playing the drums, oh, Booby playing the drums, or whatever. And that's what it was. So we would kept getting these breaks, and that's all it was about to us. It was about for us playing these breaks. Okay, I said I was going to go back to the fashion part of it with the clothes and the graffiti. Okay, so now when graffiti was part of the fashion, right? Now we incorporated so our crew, that's when crews were coming out. And so each one of the crew would have a shirt or something with this graffiti on it. Okay, so we had Chuck City Crew, okay, on ours. And so people would look at that and be like, yo, that's so fly or whatever. And that's what we would do. I gotta see this because I saw it said something about Quarterfield Coat Marshmallow Playboys. Yes, yes, definitely. Remember that. I remember the Quarterfields. I remember all of that. Hold on, I don't know why my thing is actually acting up like this. But can you guys see me? Can you guys see me? There you go. Okay. So yes, the Quarterfields and the marshmallows, and people don't even remember Rips, and the we had Desert Boots, and we had the what up they were like, I don't even remember what they were, but they had the little lasso on. We had Earth shoes. Hey, you know what? And that's another thing. Yeah, remember Earth shoes. Now, Earth shoes were the real ones, were Clark's. Okay. People don't know that. People don't know that the real Earth shoes were Clark's. And then they became Wallabies. Okay. So remember that, okay, and let them know that DJ FaZe told you that. Okay, Atari 7800, Atari. Grandmaster Flowers was a graffiti artist. Yes, he was, sure was. Listen to you talk, bring back so many memories. Oh, Jay, yes, thank you, thank you. DE Facts, okay. Pro Kids. No, Quasi, it wasn't Pro Kids, it was Pro Kids. And I went to that before. I let people know that Super Pro Kids actually came out before 69ers. Okay, Super Pro Kids did come out before, but they didn't have the red and blue line. But they were Super Pro Kids. They had the red and blue thing on the tongue, and on the side they had the things. So 69ers came out after, and then they brought the Super Pro Kid out again after the 69ers went out of style. The 69ers, basically before they were actually 69ers, before we started really rocking them, they were Skips. Okay, so and everybody they'll tell you that they wasn't Skips, they were Skips before that. Okay, Son from Brooklyn. Peace. Some Puerto Ricans say, hold on, let me catch you back. Okay, peace phase. Some Puerto Ricans say that since Tex Hollywood was half Puerto Rican, that gives them claim to co-creation. Okay, so now this is the part about Tex that people really probably don't know. if you look at the pictures of Tex, we didn't, well, I know I didn't. I know a lot of us did not know that he was Puerto Rican. That's number one. And number two, the creation, when Tex started bringing, the stuff and joining up with Mario, the creation had started. It really had started already. And you say Tex he was not waving the Puerto Rican flag and saying that he was Puerto Rican. Tex had an afro. Tex was doing what we were, he was playing with us and doing stuff with us. So he wasn't repping Puerto Rico. He wasn't saying that. I even don't remember Tex ever speaking Spanish. I don't remember that. So, a lot of people say, okay, he's half Puerto Rican and he's half black, what they call black. I say brown. So what does that mean? Does that mean that he brought his Puerto Rican culture, his half of his Puerto Rican culture from Puerto Rico and influenced what we were doing? No. Not at all. He was doing what we were doing. So, if anything, we showed him how to do this. And he was, he was a part of saying that okay, y'all, I'm this side. I'm brown. I'm not gonna claim the Puerto Rican side. I'm brown. So everybody that says that, they just don't know. They were not there. They can't say that. And another thing is what they say about, how half Puerto Ricans or whatever. Okay, show me, please. I said this so many times. Show me a picture. Show me a record. Show me a dance. Show me anything that came from Puerto Rico and was used in hip hop. Show me one thing, just one thing. That's all I want. Just one thing, just one thing. And they cannot produce that. They cannot. So all this always talking about, oh, well, Herb did this or whatever. Okay, show me. Show me. This guy, look, I'm looking at it, he says, do you have any photos or any videos from 1971? Listen, sir, listen. I'm going to tell this guy once and for all. I'm going to tell him, listen, we know that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get any kind of things to say that, you got this picture of this, or you got this, or you found out this, or you heard this. No, man, get your own stuff. If you believe that Puerto Ricans is the creators or they whatever, go to Puerto Rico, get your proof, your evidence, and bring it back and say, hey, this is what we did. You can't do that. They can't. They just, so why? So why are you saying, oh, this? We used to do that as kids. Our parents used to do that to us. They would say, especially to me, they would tell me, you can't play that drums. You can't play that drums. And they mind what they were saying. Play them drums, boy. Play them drums. You're doing that type of psychology. You don't have no picture of this. You don't have no picture of that. So I show you the picture of that. Oh, now you got the picture of that. You see what I'm saying? So that trick psychology, you're too young to play that trick psychology and think that it's going to work. It's not going to work. Okay. So I'm not even going to call you a tether or whatever. That's trolling. You're trolling right now to do that. You watch everything that I do, and it's like you always got a comment to say, oh, well, you ain't do this, or you ain't create. No. We did. And that's the problem. The problem is that everybody takes what we do that is so great. And now when we're doing it, this is the crazy part of it. When we're doing it, everybody else is looking like, oh, that's whack. Oh, that's whack. That's whack. Then when 2 or 3 other people like, oh, that shit is kind of fly. Oh, that's rocking. then you want to jump on the bandwagon and say like, oh yeah, it's fly too. And I just like what I was telling you about the Knicks fan, the jock rider. A Knicks fan is like when the Knicks is winning, oh my God, they got the shirts, they Knicks fans, they've been listening, watching the Knicks and everything. When the Knicks start losing and the people start saying that the Knicks is not winning or whatever, then they like, oh no, man, we're not that. Okay, I got to say this one. Okay, disco played a part. We sampled that too. Okay, so now I'm gonna just go into it because I don't got that much time left, and I'm gonna talk about the people that run and talk about disco. Okay, in the creation of hip hop, okay, the creation in 71, 72, 73, we did not consider R&B soul music disco. That's number one thing. People think because Disco King Mario, that disco is in his name, that they think that he played disco. And you're wrong. Those people never heard him play. He stole that name. He stole that name from a person that did play in a discotheque. They played in a discotheque and they were the king. They said that they were the king of the discotheque, not disco music. You can play any music in a discotheque. You can play rap music. You can play moody music. You can play country music. You can play anything in the discotheque because that's the name of the club that it's called. It's called a discotheque. So all of those people that say, oh, well, disco came before hip hop, disco came before this. No. Donna Summer brought out disco. Thelma Houston brought out disco. That was the disco scene. Okay, Studio 54 and clubs like that were the disco scene. That's what disco music got. And that came out, I'll give it 75, 76. Okay? That's when disco came out. And it only lasted for a little while because everybody else was saying, disco sucked, disco sucked, disco sucked. So we couldn't latch on to something where people were saying, disco suck, disco suck. So y'all kill me with that. Oh, he had disco in his name. Y'all don't know nothing about it. Y'all never been to a Disco King Mario jam in your life, but yet and still you said what he played. You know that he played this. You know, I had to go in on said G. And she said, that's not what I'm saying. No, I didn't say that. I'm not saying that, baby. I'm not saying that to you. I'm not putting that to you. When I saw the word disco, that's when I went in because that's what they said. Okay, listen, my time is up. But listen, this is what I want you guys to do. Please, you've been donating, but the time is getting very precious. So we need you to donate to the Cash App that you see right there. This is the beginning of my series. I think what I'm gonna do, just like the 21 days of summer that we used to do, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna either come in every day for a week and then take a week off, or I'll figure it out. But that's what I want to do. So please contribute. Listen, guys, you don't have to put $1 million. You don't have to just send something because we're running out of time. We need to get as many clothes, as many bags, school supplies, as many haircuts, and as many things of food that we can get. So any contribution that you make to us, that's what it's going for. And we'll definitely just honor that. And like I said, the bigger donations, come on over to the VIP, and we love you. Listen, I'm DJ FaZe, and I will definitely love you all. Peace.